This video will teach you how to use basic color grading techniques using Photoshop's Camera Raw filter.
What is up, designers? I've just grabbed a random image that already looks good, it's already color graded, but we're going to make it even better. To get started, pick an image that you want to work with, and the first thing you want to do is convert it into Smart Object. This will allow you to change edits even after you finish with your color grading. So to access the Camera Raw filter, simply go to Filter, and here it is, Camera Raw filter. You will be taken into this menu, and the first thing I do here is I click Auto right here. This uses Photoshop's built-in AI to understand how the image looks and how it can be better. So typically this gives me really good starting position. Now I'm going to close these panels so you can clearly see what's going on here. So if you never played around with this before, it's probably going to look something like this. Now when you press the auto mode, it just uses the first two settings. So light and color is affected only, and the rest of them are not. So let's go ahead and check out what happened in light. So all of these settings really depend on your image and on your taste in colors. You can make things much different than mine. Feel free to do so. There is no one correct way to color grade, it's all creative work. I usually like to up the blacks so that it looks more cinematic and there are no really dark areas in the image. Here everything seems to be looking pretty good. Next we can go into the color, and here I like to adjust the vibrance a little bit. Vibrance is basically the same as saturation, but it doesn't damage the image as much. If you bump up the saturation too much, it will look a little too fake. So I usually leave saturation to about, maximum 5, depending on the image. And then I play around with the vibrance a little bit more. So we can go up to maybe about 40 here, maybe 35. That looks pretty good. Typically, I don't touch temperature and tint, although you're welcome to experiment with that. Next up, we have effects. I like to go in here and add texture of 5 to 10, and also clarity to around 10. This sharpens the image and makes it look clear and crisp, so the visibility of the image just becomes a bit better. And then we have the grain here and vignette. Typically I don't use vignette, but you're welcome to try it out. For the grain effect, I'll show you what it does. It simply adds grain. Wow. And usually on clear images, that's not really something I would suggest. But if you're going for more of a grungy look, then feel free to do that. And now we get to my favorite part, which is curves. Usually curves, you just do the S curve. Everybody knows that. So we are here. We just drop in the darks and raise the highlights. So what this does is essentially creates a stronger contrast between the light and dark values. People usually stop here and that's fine, but I like to go into the colors curve as well. So notice that we have this circle here. On the right side, we have the red values, green values, and the blue values. I like my images to be a bit more greenish in tint. For me, that adds a little bit of film look to the image. So what you can do is essentially reduce other colors. So red and blue reduction would mean that green stays the highest. So the image would become a little bit darker and a little bit greener. So the way to do that is just go into the red channel first, and on the bottom here, just drag the input value just a little bit to the right. So that's going to reduce the reds, the dark reds in the image. And then from the top, just drag that down as well. The difference will be very subtle, but it will be noticeable in the final result. Next, we go to the blue channel and do the same exact thing. So we reduce the dark values and we reduce the light values as well. So notice how image just became a little bit greenish. What I also like to do is boost the midtones of the blue, and that gives it a very unique look. We are finished with curves, and the next menu we go into is detail. In detail, I like to boost the sharpening a little bit maybe 10, maybe 15, maybe 20. And if your image is a bit noisy or it has color noise, you can also use these sliders to remove them. So that's my settings usually. This is the base settings I use for color grading. I'm going to press OK now, and we're going to see the difference that we've made so far. So this was before and this was after. Notice how much different it is already. Even though before seeing the color graded version, it looked like it's a professionally taken photograph and color graded, but after seeing this version, the old version looks unfinished. I'm going to showcase these color grading settings on other images now, so I'm just dropping in 2 more images. One that displays skin tone as well, and another one. This image already looks extremely green, but what we can do is make it even greener. Now, instead of going in, pressing Ctrl-Shift-A and playing around with it again, what I can do is I can copy what I just did simply by pressing Alt or Option on my keyboard, hovering over the smart filters, and then dragging this over the layer that I want to copy. Just make sure that the layer that you're copying over is also a smart object. And you can see that by the little icon it has on the lower right corner. So let's drag and drop these layers, and voila, we have applied the color correction that we did for the previous image. Remember, every single image is different, and the color correction that you apply on one may not look as good on the other. So make sure that you go into it and play around with it. Here's what I mean. So let's say this green, I want to change it a little bit. What I can do now is I can click the drop down menu here, and we have the smart filters available here for re-editing. So if you double click the camera raw filter now, we're going to be taken into the menu, and we can edit this and save it so we don't lose any settings, and we can always come back and change things around. So let's say in this image I want it to be a little bit brighter, so I'll up the exposure a little bit, make the contrast higher, play around with these values, and then I press OK, and now it has changed. We can do the same exact thing on this image as well. Press Alt or Option if you're using a Mac, and just drag and drop the filters on here and open this menu so we can see the filter. Now for this image, you can see that we have some discoloration. This is called color noise. Notice how it doesn't look great. What we can do is double click the camera raw filter again, go down here, and in details panel, we can reduce the color noise. So I'm just going to zoom in and show you what it does. I'll just bump this up, and as you can see, it has disappeared. So here's before, here's after. You can clearly see that the noise is gone. I press OK, and we have a clearer image now. So let's say we had a couple more images taken during a photo shoot. Now you can simply click and drag and drop these color corrections to all of them and instantly get similar results. So that's it for this tutorial. If you find it useful, share it with your friends, smash the like button, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more content like this. And I'll see you in the next one.